Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And namaste to the people from the eastern part of the world. This is Anita from Happiness Factors. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you a super survivor. He not just survived his dad leaving them when he was very young, but he survived being raped, drug addiction, homelessness, and now he is a successful professional, a marketer and campaigning strategist, as well as successful musician and has his own band. So without further ado, I would like Nathan to say a few words about himself and his story on how he would like to share his life with the listeners. So Nathan, go ahead.
Hi, Anita. Thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate it and, appreciate the opportunity to be on here. So as she said, my name is Nathan Spades. A little bit about me is I had a very young mom who had me at the age of 15, pretty much had a very abusive, physically abusive dad that she had to leave when I was 2 years old. Had a pretty, I would say a pretty rough life growing up. Didn't have a lot of things, had to work for a lot. And, it came with her having also been emotionally damaged as well. And, her having to get help and me having to kind of figure out how to kind of grow up in that environment where she wasn't able to be fully healed herself because she was trying to be a parent. So, that kind of led to things like me being homeless and me kind of leaving at a young age and having to really figure stuff out, not really having any kind of safety net or the opportunity to really go to school or do any of that. So I think that kind of brings me to here, which is where I've had to learn trades and learn how to manage and cope with things that happen in my life along the way. And, just figure out how to become a fully functioning member of society on my own, and I'm 29 years of age now. So, all that happened in the blink of an eye. And I feel like I have the rest of my life now to help other people figure their lives out and inspire people and tell people that, there is a way. It's not the end when you're 17 or you're 13 and you have no idea why life is going the way it is or why these things have happened to you. I think, is there anything else specific that you want me to dive into?
Sure. So, usually one small thing happens and people get depressed or people start complaining or they give up on life or they think they are not good enough or they can't don't have any future. So I'm very impressed that you, in spite of not having one thing, but several things happen in your life when you were really, really young. How were you able to get the strength or pick yourself up, not just from one incident, but from multiple incidents? So much so that right now you're thinking about inspiring others and telling others that life is possible no matter what happens in your life, right?
That's a really tough question to answer because I never really thought about it up until now. Going through everything that I did, I had help on the way, and it's more often than not help that I kind of sought out for. Like for instance, when I was 17 and I had actually, I think that was the last time I was on drugs when I was 17 and I had attempted suicide, which I have, scars now left on my body that I'll never get rid of. And, I won't get rid of them even if I could, because they're reminders of what I went through and what my personal mindset was at the time. And it's even looking back at that, it's hard to put myself back in that position because I'm so much more full of hope now. And back then I was just in this really dark place where hope didn't exist. So I think being 17, going through all that, I was put in a psych ward. And then when I was around real, people that really had severe mental issues that I didn't have, it kind of showed me a light that I wasn't able to see and showed me that I do have the capability. And maybe I didn't think about it this clearly then at 17, but being around people that really actually needed help more than I did, because I had a drug issue and I didn't have these schizophrenia or anything that mentally severe. But I was on drugs and I was also on pills like antidepressants and antipsychotics. So that was where the craziness came from. But being around those kids and then coming out, I started to think about myself and what road I was on. And then I ended up in church. I ended up in a strong Christian church. And that was kind of where I I kind of found my way because I was around a group of people that were real to me, that really actually cared about my well-being. And they were like, look, we're not saying that believing in God is the answer and that this is going to be an easy road, but we're just trying to show you that there's a way to be around a group of people and find, hope in something bigger than what you are, just a person, and that you can possibly change your outlook and your mindset and get better and heal, with a strong supportive group of people, which is something I never had my whole life.
Yeah.
I think that was the key to me taking that leap of faith and taking a step in the right direction, was having a strong support system. So wherever that may be, whether it's church or whether it's, family, I think that was step one. I think there's a lot of steps is where I'm going with that. And a lot of steps led me from when I was 17 to when I'm 29, and I didn't get there alone. It was definitely me taking those steps, which brings me to point number 2.
Yes.
If you see those steps, you have to take it.
Yes.
Nobody can really take it for you. If you need help, you have to want it. And I think at that point, I wanted that help. I didn't really want to die, but that was like my last resort, because I was pushed away from religion, from having it forced on me at such a young age by my mom's family, of like Jehovah's Witnesses, and being told I couldn't do this and couldn't do that and couldn't do anything, couldn't watch this, I was pushed away from it. So initially when I took that first step forward, I was like, this is the one thing I haven't tried. And I think I should do this because I don't really have any other options. I was in this hole that I couldn't get out of, and I kept digging myself deeper, and I hit rock bottom. And I think that's usually the point when people decide whether or not they want help, is when you hit rock bottom.
Yes, I agree totally.
Yeah, the thing I'm trying to say is, like, when you hit rock bottom, it's not over. You can still get out of that hole, but you have to want the help. So I think that initially is something that I do want people to know, is that find the steps, take the steps, and then find a strong support group. And whether that's a church, it doesn't matter. You can walk into any place. You just have to be ready with the mindset to want to be helped. And
no, I totally agree. And even it can be like coaching, like I went to, or getting some therapy, or even like having the right people who are not negative and who don't tell you can't do this, but have positive people who encourage you to go after your dreams, right? So
exactly.
If you are comfortable, I also wanted to ask you, what age were you raped? Do you remember, or you don't? If you don't want to talk about it, I'm totally fine with it. But the reason I'm touching on all these issues, because being in mental health, I come across a lot of people with a lot of these kind of traumas, and some of them don't see a way, or some of them totally give up, and some of them it takes a long time. So I would, if you discuss, I think it will help more people who will know that they are not alone. Other people also go through it. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing about the steps that I took, is being open about it was something that was very hard at first, but now I've had this conversation with people that I truly trust, and I've done things like this. So yeah, of course, I was 13 years old, to answer the question, when that happened.
Pretty young, yeah.
Yeah. So at that age, I feel like.
Street, or were you still at home?
I was technically living under my dad's care when this happened.
Okay.
So it was a very crazy situation, and I think when that happens, especially at that age, you don't really understand how to process it. And I think that's kind of part of the reason we lash out and we do things like drugs, or, we start being a little more promiscuous in our younger years, like especially the younger that happens, because your sense of reality is kind of broken. Your sense of like, it doesn't matter whether you know about sex or know about drugs or know about things. The whole nature in your mind, like in you, changes at that age, because you don't know anything. We're so young and naive, and when someone takes advantage of that, we don't really know how to feel. We don't know how to deal with it, and of course, if you don't tell anybody, which I didn't, you're trying to figure this out on your own and why it happened, and you think there's something wrong with you. It creates self-esteem issues. It creates, insecurities, and so there's it kind of snowballs into just this snowball of bad things that you keep doing and making bad decisions, because you're lashing out and you're not seeking help because you don't know how. So
at that age, it's crucial. But so after that, you went into drugs?
Yeah, I think that's, 13 is the age a lot of stuff happened, and now, like in hindsight, I kind of look back at that, and it all makes sense now. I didn't just do these things for no reason. I don't know why the reason was. It was they were coping mechanisms,
Yes,
maybe. I don't
yes.
know. They were the ways
Like
I
to
was
get
trying to deal with it.
rid of the pain, right? Many people tell me that they
Yeah.
did those things because they didn't mask the pain they were feeling for being
Yeah,
raped or some of the
exactly.
trauma. Yeah.
And that's the age I started drinking, started smoking pot, started smoking cigarettes. That was the age I tried a lot of different things that eventually years later led to other things. So yeah, that was all around the age it happened. And that was I think that's the correlation to it.
Okay, sorry to hear that, but I'm so happy that you were able to pick yourself up later. So, what age did you leave home?
I left home at 17. It was kind of like, I kind of got kicked out, I'm not gonna lie. So it wasn't like me like running away, but like, I think it was the best decision for me. Like I said, I think my mom still had a lot of issues and that she needed to work on. And I don't think that her and I under the same roof was a good idea. Our relationship improved after I went out on my own and learned how to live by myself and got the help that I needed to start to get better, so, and I think she did the same, but yeah.
So after that, I think after that incident happened that when you were 13, so then you moved with your mom?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I had lived with my mom most of my life, and then I was throwing a tantrum, so I went to live with my dad, and we all know how that goes. The grass ain't greener on the other side, right? So yeah, all that happened, and then I ended up moving back. Yeah, so it was kind of like the timeline.
And what age did you decide that you wanted a career and you didn't want to do the drugs and you wanted a life for yourself?
I don't know if it was really that decision per se. I think like after being on the streets for so long and waking up in parks and, like you just kind of start to realize this is not like a life, that I should be living. Like this is kind of like you look down, you look at yourself and you just go, I probably don't want to do this forever. I think like 6 months is a long time to be living on the streets like that. And, it kind of just hit me that I should probably try to get a job. I should clean up. And, I did. I got a job while I was on the streets. I would shower in bathrooms and behind like alleyways where there was faucets, just anything that I could do to try to clean up. And I ended up getting a job and then ended up getting a car and then ended up getting another job and then ended up getting my own place. And it slowly started to build after that. And then, I started to meet a lot of people. I started to just try to talk to people, anyone that I could, be proactive about networking. And slowly the opportunities, the more people I talked to, I realized the opportunities got bigger. And I think that's kind of what allowed me to be where I am now, is by talking to a lot of people and by being proactive about networking.
Well, you are very proactive. Otherwise, I meet so many people in different seminars, and most of them I forget totally, right? But you reached out and we connected. So you are a very active networker. That's amazing. That's nice. And did you ever feel like you need to go, or you want to go, like when life happens now, did you ever feel like I want to go back to the drugs, or I want to go back to that life because I can't take it anymore, or it's not working, or like any of your weak moments?
Of course. And I mean, as an addict, some people aren't addicts. Some people literally develop drug problems and they can quit cold turkey. And I've met people like that. And it's insane. It's insane how they do that. But I'm not that person. So I had to work really hard for about 4 or 5 years. I think after I had quit hard drugs, like I was 18, I was fresh. I started a new slate. I chain smoked cigarettes. I was a big smoker, and that was my way. But that's the thing. I had learned along the way that I had always dumped one habit for another really bad habit. And even if it was better than the previous one, I still wanted to eliminate that. I didn't want to do that anymore. So eventually I quit cigarettes and then, I never really, I wasn't really a big drinker. That's not something I had an issue with. So I never really turned to cope with that. But I think during my years, I was pretty straight edge, meaning like I didn't do anything for a while. And then when COVID hit was the last time that I'd really developed severe issues. I developed a bit of a drinking problem, and this was just recent. This was just last year. But I think that I was also going through a breakup. Okay. So I think there was a combination of things. I had dated somebody for about 5 years. And then I had things slowly shift from what I was, in my life that were really important that weren't there anymore. So I think that was that's probably always going to be something I have to look out for, is going through just a stressful situation like that where, I'm attached or anything like that. I wasn't really prepared to deal with that properly. And I started drinking a little bit, but with the life experience that I've gained, it was really easy to stop. I think I did that for about 6 months. And then I was like, took one look at myself and I was like, this is not what I should be doing right now. I was like, I've completely fallen off, and I don't think that I've ever really wanted to, because I mean, what I was doing before when I was 17 was like heroin and stuff, and opioids like OxyContin and stuff like that. I think that I've developed such I'm a stubborn person, and I think I've used my stubbornness against myself. I've become so completely against, me ever going back to that I don't think it'll ever happen, because I'm too stubborn. I'm too
that's
stubborn.
A good kind of stubborn, like you have self-control, right? And also like I think life will keep on happening to all of us, right, in some way or the other. So I would say like considering therapy or coaching or things like that when something happens might help you not get into the bad habits to cope up with the situation.
100%. And I think I did therapy when I was younger. And I had a really good therapist. I tried a couple before and they weren't very good. They didn't understand me. I feel like there was just a barrier. We weren't really, getting anywhere. But then I found one that was really good for me. Her name was Shauna. She was in Marietta, California, and she really actually cared. She would listen to the stuff I say. And I felt like she kind of connected with me in a way where she like understood how my mind worked. And she understood the experiences. We obviously never talked about her, but like I felt like she just understood me more. So I think that's really important when it comes to therapy, because therapy is something that I will strongly recommend, but finding the right therapist that understands you is half the battle, because it's hard to talk to somebody that you feel like doesn't really connect with you or doesn't really understand you.
No, I totally agree. And even I would say coaching also I've found along the way when I used to be in tech, right? The reason I even got through the stuff I got through, and so coaching helped me a lot, because many of the therapists try to put you on medication. Coaches never do. And they try to target the root cause rather than the symptoms. But again, you have to find the good one, like you mentioned. There are lots of bad ones out there, so you have to figure out which one works and which one doesn't. So 100%. If suppose someone is going through a lot of difficult, like violence or drug addiction or all that abuse or something in their life, and if you have to give a message to them, what message would you share?
I'd probably say that even though right now things seem like they are not intact, and that the world might be just crashing down all around your head and shoulders, and that the weight is just on you and there's no way out, I want you to think about something. Someday, if you're not already married, you will get married, and you will be, if you're a guy or a girl, you will be in an awesome ass tux, or you will be in a beautiful dress, and you'll be walking down the aisle to the person that has decided that they want to spend the rest of their life with you. And someday, if you don't already have kids, you're going to have a beautiful child, or maybe multiple. Don't throw away the opportunity for your life to fully develop because of these dark days, because death is not a solution. It's a permanent ending. And don't eliminate going through all these dark times that are going to shape you and make you so much stronger for the people that are going to need you in the future. Because of that, live and just keep living and keep seeking help and keep fighting through it, because you will probably be able to help so many people someday by going through what you're going through, rather than just completely eliminating your light from the dark place. Like, this world is a dark place, and people like us are lights in that dark place. And
I totally agree.
To be that light, So that's my advice for people that might be going through a struggle, is that this is not how it's going to be for the rest of your life.
Yes. So be the light, right? Learn and inspire others and be the light. That's really, really great message. And would you like to share one of your songs for the audience before we end this recording?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Do you want me to share a full song?
You can start I think couple of minutes.
Okay. Let's see. give a little snippet. So I do share screen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think we did this the other day. And then you got audio, right?
Play. Right now, I don't hear the audio.
Okay, 1 second.
So skip ads, because there's an ad right now. Yeah.
Right, let me know if you can. I think I have to fix the audio on this. Let me see. Oh, share sound. I think you should be able to hear it now.
Yes.
Just let me know when you want me to stop it.
Can you increase the volume?
Oh, increase it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Better?
now it's good.
Okay, good. Sorry.
I built my lust for chaos from your lies. I was the worst kind of horror that your heart could find. You're attracted to destruction, and I'm the darkness in your mind. If it weren't for us, then I'd be dying here all alone. You were not meant for me, there is no empathy. You are the misery I'm not giving in. You are the broken trust, there is no hope for us. Can we save it, or will we fade away? You're searching for a love inside my hate. You found me on the edge, but it's too late. Why do we break just to put it back together again? If it weren't for us, then I'd be dying here all alone. You were not meant for me, there is no empathy. You are the misery I'm not giving in. You are the broken trust, there is no hope for us. Can we save it, or will we fade away?
Thank you so much for sharing it. I think this song will give people a lot of ideas. I mean, also like from what they're going through, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I write about as well has to do with like pushing the boundaries of like a mental, like being in a mental state of mind that's unstable. Sometimes like what I've realized is having songs like this is a therapy for somebody else that might be able to look at this and look at their emotions and look at their feelings from an outsider's perspective, like the craziness going on up in here. It really helps people to have like a way of looking at that from the outside. And this is why like people go to music oftentimes, you know, because lyrically you're kind of saying what they can't. They're feeling so many things inside and it's so crazy up in here. They just want somebody that can say how they feel, you know, and help them figure it out. And this particular song was actually written about, I don't know if you're familiar with like the like Batman. So there's a character in there called the Joker, and he's in love with this girl called Harley Quinn. Well, she's like in love with him. And it's kind of like about their relationship. And I kind of like correlate a lot of my lyrics to like stuff that I'm personally into, you know, to create art with it. And I like people to have their own interpretations though of our songs and what they mean to them, you know, so it's all therapeutic.
And also, so the name of your YouTube channel is Dark Station, right?
Yeah, that's the band name. So anyone can search Dark Station on Spotify, YouTube, and that's, you know, darkstationband.com. That's where you can find all of our stuff.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Highly appreciate you giving us the time and sharing your experience. I'm sure some time later, maybe we can circle back for a few more interviews or a few more questions.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
With that, I'll say thank you to all our audience for watching. And if you have any questions, You can either reach out to Nathan if you need any answers from him, or you can reach out to Happiness Factors if you have any questions about Happiness Factors, because we offer holistic mental health solutions available at your fingertips, whether you are looking for an app or a course or a video or a webinar, seminar, workshop, books, we have it. So do keep in touch, share your feedback, share our videos, and let us know what are the topics you are interested in listening to. And till then, keep smiling. Namaste.